Good morning, good morning. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm Game Day live show. It is NFL Week 8. John Impemba here with Britt, Flinn, taking you through the next hour, getting you guys ready to dominate your DFS and seasonal fantasy football leagues. Britt, good morning.
Morning. How's it going? No bye
It's going
weeks. We've
well.
got
It's
so
going well.
much to talk about today. I
Oh,
mean,
do we ever? We have no teams on buys. We got a full slate of games for the DFS and seasonal fantasy football calendar here today. Of course, we had the big scare, I want to say, yesterday from Adam Schefter, tweeting out the potential blizzard that was going to be impacting this Kansas City Chiefs Denver Broncos game. And then we've gotten some updated reports that maybe won't be as bad as initially feared there. I know as soon as that happened, our Discord was blowing up with like, well, do I play this guy? Do I play that guy now? It's like, well, it's seasonal. You kind of have to play the guys you have in DFS. I know Howard Bender made a couple of notations in his playbook regarding the weather here to stay tuned and pay attention to the updates he has this morning as you guys get ready, because he'll certainly be able to let you know a little bit better as we close in on roster lock. The viability of using Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, Russell Wilson and all that crew. So in terms of like big weather concerns, that was initially the one. We do have a couple of other games that are going to be dealing with some rain today, Britt. And I know we often say that weather kind of gets a little bit overblown when it comes to the impact. Unless it's a monsoon or there's 30, 40 mile an hour winds or complete whiteout conditions, these guys just kind of play football the way they play football.
yeah, I think that the rain situation is completely overblown. Unless it's just like a monsoon, then it doesn't really have an impact. These guys practice with wet footballs. They're professionals. They're ready for this. Unless it's something that just, like you said, the winds that can completely just change the trajectory of the ball, I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, we had the game a couple years ago where New England only threw the ball twice against Buffalo because of how bad the wind was. We had the cyclone in like San Francisco a couple years ago, where there was just that complete and utter downpour. I still think they threw the ball a little bit more than people were expecting in that game, but still another game that was like very impacted by the weather. So I don't necessarily think we're going to see anything like that today, but of course, if we do get any sort of updated weather reports during the next hour, we'll be here to certainly answer those questions for you, give you the latest news as it pertains to the weather today. If you guys are tuning in now, please go ahead, throw your questions into the chat. I see a lot of you guys already in there. Troy, Brad, Rob, Ethan, Nicole, all in there already. Good morning to all of you. My buddy Dan, Andrea. So we see you. We'll get to your questions here in a moment as we sort of like reset the table here for everybody. But when it comes to this week's slate, any like notable stories you're watching, any matchups that you got yourself kind of keying in on here?
So I'm actually looking at the Bears and the Chargers going into tonight's game, because if you look at the Chargers spread, I don't think that they've won a 2-score game so far this season, and they're favored by what, 8.5 now, depending on how the line has moved. And their pass defense is really, really, really bad. And when I say that, I'm being generous. It's just horrible. Can Tyson Bagent get this done and use his weapons? Then we're also going to see the return of Roschon Johnson.
Yep.
I'm also interested in that San Francisco game because Brock Purdy just miraculously cleared concussion protocol in less than a week and is going to be the starter. So that's going to be interesting to see. Does he have any lingering effects? Should he have been cleared? Things like that. So that's what I'll be watching.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I want to see what happens in Tennessee. We have the 2 quarterback supposed split that's going to happen there. They're going to maybe start Willis and then give Levis some opportunities. They're going to go, I'm not really quite sure if they've set the actual plan for how they're going to use those 2 quarterbacks. For me, like I've seen what Malik Willis can do as a quarterback. I'd rather give them the try to the kid they took in the second round and see if he can actually, make that a viable passing offense here. They're going up against Atlanta today. That was a game that could have potentially seen some rain as of the current reports here. It seems like a lot of that rain's going to miss the stadium. So that's good if you were looking at maybe Desmond Ridder today in DFS. Someone that I had kind of built a couple of lineups around as a dart throw play in some GPP tournaments today. Ridder, for the perception of the Arthur Smith offense, being so run heavy. He's attempted at least 25 passes in all but one game this season. He's thrown 30 or more passes in all but 2 games on the year. So, he is throwing a lot. Now, a lot of that has to do with the game flow that these teams have been in, which is kind of why I want Levis in there. I think Levis gives this one a good chance to be a kind of a competitive back and forth game. We've seen Willis's shortcomings here. It's a bad thrower, a guy that doesn't really have any pocket presence, and maybe a lot of defensive stops there for Atlanta. But if this one gets into a shootout, you got Ritter, you got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, maybe spots where they can finally excel, because the one thing Tennessee still does well defensively is stop the run. So, you don't necessarily know if you're going to see Arthur Smith be able to just kind of force feed, 17 carries to Tyler Algier and, whatever sporadic usage he wants to use to Bijan Robinson here today, Cordarrelle Patterson, whoever's going to get the ball. I think they're going to have to throw a little bit. And I kind of have a kind of excited-ish about the prospects of actually Ritter throwing the football today.
Yeah, and Drake London has a great matchup. Tennessee's defense is just a pass funnel, and they're just not very good at all. And especially after trading away Kevin Byard, that's going to just deplete their secondary that much more. So if they do throw, I think that they've got a real big opportunity to put up some points on that side of the ball.
Yeah. And then finally, we have the matchup between the 1 and 2 pick from this last year's draft. We have Bryce Young and CJ Stroud running up against one another here, both coming off of a bye. Carolina's handing over their offensive play calling. Reich is no longer making the decisions there. Offensive coordinator is going to be the one calling the plays. Some positive potential comments and developments for Miles Sanders here with that change. Could see him maybe evolved a little bit more in the passing game, but I just love these narratives. Earlier this year, we saw the press conference by Reich basically being like, yeah, we have an owner that likes to be involved in the decision-making process, kind of alluding to the fact that he may have liked Stroud more than Bryce Young, but the owner liked Bryce Young, and that was the decision they went there. So you got a little narrative in play there. You got a quarterback that was passed over by the owner, facing the coach that probably wanted him more than the quarterback they have now. Both teams coming out of a bye, an offensive coordinator change. Who knows what we see out of Carolina's offense today?
And not only that, but Carolina's pass defense has just been completely depleted. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, and Von Bell are all inactive and or on IR.
Yeah, and Brian Burns is questionable today, so their best pass rusher might not even be available.
Yep. I think that this is going to be a game that CJ Stroud comes in. I've set a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas, showing, hey, this is what you could have had, but you made the wrong decision. So that one's definitely going to be interesting as well.
Yeah, no rubber woods in that game for Houston. Tank Dell is back, though, so you'll see those two guys, him and Nico Collins, be the 1-2 for Houston. The bigger question there is what the backfield looks like. Before the bye, Devin Singletary outsnapped and saw double-digit carries compared to Dameon Pierce there. Is there going to be a changing of the guard here? Is Pierce going to be now the backup? Like, how do you think this plays out today?
I think it still stays pretty 50-50 with Singletary being a little bit more involved in the passing game. I just have not been impressed with Dameon Pierce whatsoever this year. I mean, he had one semi-decent game, but other than that, I mean, at this point, he hasn't shown anything that, makes me think that he's going to be the starter.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been a bad year. Offensive line troubles for them, but Singletary's given some opportunities and ran the ball well. I was surprised, honestly, that Buffalo. Well, they had Cook, so I get why they made that move. But Singletary was really effective for them last year. So surprised more teams didn't go ahead and give him a shot. So anything else here, Britt, you want to jump into before we get to questions?
I don't think so. I think I'm ready for some questions. I'm
sure
something will pop up as we get into questions.
Troy says good morning to us. Brad also saying good morning. First question today goes to Rob. PPR, Najee Harris or Miles Sanders today?
Oh, this one's tough because you haven't been able to trust either of these guys.
Right.
I think I am going to lean Sanders, though, just because of Houston's run defense and potentially that usage in the passing game. Fingers crossed that it works out.
Well. I'm going to go Miles Sanders here for me today. Ethan, first question for him this morning. Running back on a flex and a half-point PPR. Kendrick Bourne, Alexander Madison, Darrell Henderson, Tank Dell, Tyler Algier, and the aforementioned Devin Singletary.
So I actually do like Madison for your running back today. And then I think I'm leaning Tank Dell with Robert Woods out and that Carolina secondary.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I like both of those calls here. Minnesota in a good spot to run the football. Can they run the football today is obviously the bigger question. Brad wants to know Bijan or Kenneth Walker in a full PPR.
I'm going to go Bijan here. I know Tennessee's defense has been a little bit tough to run on, but Seattle is potentially missing their 2 starting guards, and they're going against Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that matchup's just way tougher.
And it's a full PPR. Bijan catches the football. If nothing else, you think he'll get 4 or 5 catches in this game. So I like that one. Nicole this morning, full PPR, need 2 running backs and a flex. Miles Sanders, Najee Harris, Tank Dell, Charbonnet, Roshan, Dylan Bourne, JSN. So she has in Sanders, Najee, and Dell. Would you swap in anybody in place that's on their bench? Probably. You guys said Najee maybe for somebody here.
Yeah, I'm looking at Roshan, to be honest. That pass catching ability that he has out of that backfield. I know that Foreman's still going to get a pretty decent chunk of work, but with Tyson Bagent's low ADOT that he showed off last week, I think that Roshan's going to have a lot of value in PPR formats.
Yeah, I like that call there as well. I think I would go Roshan. You got Najee Harris trying to run up against Jacksonville. It's not really a great spot for him there. Full PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. Najee, Sanders, Roshan, Warren, Hunt, Spears, Sutton, Dell. Do we have a Jerome Ford update yet? Do you know, Britt? I know they elevated a running back from their practice squad, but Ford was also doing a combine video basically out there on Thursday, looking pretty good on that ankle. Do you know where we have on that situation?
I think the latest update is they said that they're going to gauge the status of Ford during warmups. So he is a true game time decision.
Okay. You got to be. I mean, if he's out, that's a 4:00 game, right? So we won't really know, I guess, the option. So where do you go here? Because Hunt would obviously be pretty appealing if we know that Ford was out today.
Yeah, I think I'm still leaning Roshan in the PPR situation. And then Tank Dell because of the cold. When it's that cold, I know we just said that weather doesn't really affect it, but when it's in the teens and low 20s, that ball is rock hard and is really hard to catch. So I like Tank Dell and Roshan here, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fine for me as well.
Well, and we can also say if we're playing Roshan, that's the night game. So if Ford is ruled out, then you can swap in Hunt.
That's fair.
So you've got an option.
And you would go Hunt over Roshan there?
Yeah, if Ford is out.
Okay. Next question we got on the board here. Troy saying good morning to us. Nicole, another question. Team 3, full PPR, 1 running back, 2 flex. Najee, Sanders, Spears, Roshan, Dillon, Pickens, Sutton, and Dell. So we definitely like Sanders and Dell here. Got another flex for her. Where would we go?
Pickens.
Pickens for you?
Yeah.
Against Jacksonville. I like that. I think, I was kind of surprised at the price for Kenny Pickett. It's $4,900. I get that he hasn't been good. Like, you get Deontay Johnson back. Like, I feel, maybe give him a little bit more love. Well, I don't know. I haven't decided where I'm going with all my DFS lineups today, but, that's a good price tag for him. Jay Olson here, half PPR, pick 2. Devonta Smith, George Pickens, Drake London, or the very popular today, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Drake London. And then I think I'm actually going Pickens because as popular as Flowers has been, I feel like that game's going to be a blowout and they're just going to turn towards the run game. Pickens is going to have to keep it close with Jacksonville. I think that's going to be a very back and forth game. So that's who I'm actually leaning over Flowers.
I'm in there. Dan said he's walking off his hangover. Dan, good luck to you on that one here. Let us know if you have any questions today, Dan. I don't think we're playing each other today, so that's fine. Andrea says this morning to us, another question here from Jay Olson. Garrett Wilson or Joe Mixon?
Oh, I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. I think he's been coming on a little bit more as of late, and the Giants defense is just not great.
Like it. Seller saying good morning to us. Good morning to you as well. Andrea, need 2, Bijan, Pacheco, Mostert, Stevenson.
Definitely going Pacheco with that weather situation. I Mostert worries me because he's still questionable. I haven't heard whether they're going to announce him as a game time decision or when the inactives come out. So I think safety wise, I'm going to lean Bijan. I can't trust Stevenson at all.
Yeah, that one works for me as well here. Tough to. Yeah, I know that Justin Vreeland put in the his running back coach. I actually have it in my contrarian video this morning. Reminder Stevenson just because of the passing down work that he's had lately. But Ezekiel, it's been the guy in the red zone getting the touchdown, so kills a little bit of the value there. Olave or Devonta Smith here.
Oh, this is tough.
You know what's kind of interesting in terms of DVOA defense, the Commanders are one of the worst teams in football against the wide receiver one, but against the wide receiver two, they rank 7th in DVOA.
That's why it's deceptively difficult because on one hand, you've got Derek Carr's arm strength where he's just dumping it off to Kamara. Like I want to go with Olave. Yeah, I think I'm still going to go Olave.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Double-digit targets for Olave in all but 2 games this season. He has 25, I think it is, over the last 2 weeks as well. So, while, Carr's definitely been the check down king and one of the reasons why I have a lot of Alvin Kamara in DFS today, I'm still bullish on Olave in this matchup against the Colts. Better Boss saying Bryce Young breakout. I mean, listen, maybe. I think today is a very interesting step for them. Again, changing offensive, changing the play caller, coming out of a bye at home. We'll see what Bryce Young has in store for us here today. Andrea, need one Rice, Downs, Bourne, or Tank down a half PPR.
Oh, great drafting and great options here. I think normally I would lean Rice, but with the weather situation, I'm going to go Josh Downs. He's been getting literally all the looks over the past 3 weeks, and he gets a matchup against Alontae Taylor, who is one of the worst slot corners in the league, and he might not even play because there has been that bug going around the Saints locker room.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's probably the right spot to go here today as well. Dennis wants to know needs help. PPR, half PPR rather. Start 3. Bijan, Olave, Devonta Smith, Nico Collins, Tank Dell.
Ooh, honestly, I know you said you don't know which of the wide receivers out of Houston. I think that you might be able to get away with playing both there, but
I mean, if you think they're going to be throwing a lot, and Stroud has certainly looked pretty good. There was a run he had at the beginning of the year of like 40 straight pass attempt games. So,
and Carolina has allowed 6 passing touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns over the past 2 games that they've played. So I think even if they do decide to run, you've still got some rushing upside there. I'm going to stick with Bijan here. Going to go with Nico, and then I think Chris Olave.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I think that's where we go here today. I think Nico Collins is in such a great spot overall. Andrea wants to know: do we go Lawrence or Stroud today?
That one's so tough too because the matchups are great, but for both of them, I'm gonna go with my stud. Actually, you know what? I'm switching it up. I'm gonna go with Stroud here.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm gonna go CJ Stroud today as well. I've been benching, believe it or not, Lawrence for a few weeks now. I played Sam Howell over him. I played Derek Carr over him last week, which was paying off the entire game until that 60-yard touchdown to Kirk, which was really nothing to do with Lawrence. Kirk did all of the work on that play. And even then, he only beat Carr by like 1.5 points. So it was pretty close, which is sad because I drafted Trevor Lawrence in a lot of leagues, but I've had to, basically just stream start other guys over him in different matchups. I'll be playing Lawrence today, but if I had Stroud, I'd be going Stroud. Half PPR, Wilson, Flowers, or Metcalf?
I'm gonna go Wilson here. I think
like that.
It'll be closer.
Probably still yes. Flowers is I think in play there as well. Andrew wants to know Ferguson or Schultz.
That's a really tough one too. I think I'm still leaning Schultz, but the Rams are really, really bad against the tight end. I just don't know how many targets Ferguson's going to get because over the past 2 games, he's only got a handful of targets, and it just hasn't really been consistent usage for him. So with Robert Woods out, I think that Schultz gets more of an opportunity, and Brevin Jordan's also out, so they're short a tight end.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning as well. I kind of like the Cowboys a little bit, and so does our projections and even our rostership is like in on Dak today. But for me, I just feel like the opportunity for Schultz could certainly be there. Plus, he found the end zone. He's been finding the end zone a little bit lately as
Mm-hmm.
well. So, start Amari Cooper or Cortland Sutton today.
Oh man. Ugh. I you've got to go with Cooper. The weather's going to be better. I know you've got PJ Walker. I just I
PJ
have a
Walker hasn't been
very
terrible for Amari Cooper. He had that game against San Francisco, and then the end of last week, they were really starting to connect with one another.
yeah. Yeah. I know he's been hit or miss and boom or bust, but you got to go with him today.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at as well. Excuse me. Team league no buy for Andrea on that question. I think maybe for Schultz or Ferguson. Dan wants to go. I have to play Moss, Algier, or Darrell Henderson. Moss, is he question? I think he's questionable today, right? So
He is I think he's expected to play. They just
okay.
came out this morning. Yes, Zach Moss plans to play.
Okay.
So and with all of his pass catching work as well, I kind of like him.
I get behind it. Again, the fact that they do throw him now, we kept on waiting for Jonathan Taylor to like take over that backfield, but if Moss is just going to keep playing well, they don't really have an incentive to do that. So, kind of with you there. Half PPR, Nakua, Foreman, Addison, or Smith. That's a big question for some strong plays there.
Yeah. So I'm super high on Jordan Addison going in as the wide receiver one. I still think that it's Cooper Kupp. Now, that's not to say that Nakua doesn't have value, but Addison has been absolutely smashing in all
Yeah.
situations. And he's very, very good against zone. And Green Bay plays a ton of zone. So I think I'm still leaning Addison.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind it. Again, the matchup for him, the way he's the number one wide receiver in that offense, certainly playing up. I mean, Nakua, how, we talk a lot about trying to not wanting to pick back and forth which wide receiver is going to break out. Nakua could have the easier matchup against Dallas today, but I think Addison, at least is going to be that number one. Cooper Sutton. Did we answer this one?
Yep.
Yes, we
I
did.
think we
Right?
just did that
We
one.
did. Rob says need two: London, Palmer, Sutton, Osborne, Najee. Palmer's a game time decision for this one, so that one makes it a little tough because he's a late game play. So probably would have to figure something else out there.
Yep. So in that case, I know it hurts to sit Palmer, especially if he does end up playing because you're just going to lose points, but it's better than a big zero that you get if he doesn't. So here I'm going to go London, and I think I'm going Sutton here. Osborne's been running the routes, but hasn't been really getting the targets, and Najee just has been awful.
Yes, and we assume at some point that Jalen Warren is going to flip the switch here on him. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens with that one there. Next question here. Betterball says Dylan or Sanders a non PPR half point first down though format.
Oh, um, you know, Sanders. It's going to be Sanders. I was thinking about Aaron Jones still being on a little bit of a snap count, but Minnesota's defense, as bad as it's been, have actually been pretty good against the run.
I agree with you there. Let's see here. Next question. Bender saying good morning. Olsen, Nakua, Adams, Thielen, Cooper, Pittman, Moore. Good on you drafting here.
Right? Man, you've got a wealth of riches. Just roll a dice and pick any of these guys. They're all great. I think Nakua and actually Jimmy Garoppolo's back, so I'm gonna go Adams and Thielen here.
That works for me as well here. Let's go. Next question. Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown, Rasheed Rice, Josh Downs, DeAndre Hopkins need to start 3.
Well, I'm ruling out Hopkins because of the quarterback situation. So I definitely want Josh Downs. I think if they get the snow cleared off, that I want Rice as well. And then I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson over Marquise Brown. Because again, I think that it's just, I don't know. He's been seeing targets, but he just hasn't done a lot with it. He has
Right.
not looked good this season.
I agree with you there. Next question on the board. Would you sit Devontae? When you sit Devonta Smith, he goes off, says Better Boss. Yeah, probably true. I mean, just the way the life works sometimes, Britt, right?
Truly. Sellers played against me in 3 leagues this week and sat Gabe Davis in all 3. So there was a bit of a spat in the household after that.
Lockett, Dylan, Dell, or Evan Ingram here for 1 PPR.
I like Tank Dell here today. Lockett's still questionable. Didn't practice a couple days this week, and they're going against Cleveland. So
yeah, again, the Lockett one is a problem for me in that matchup. So I'm going to go the 2, bottom 2 there as well. Brad wants no full PPR. I need 1. Kirk, Myers, or DK here.
ooh, I actually like Kirk, I think, in this matchup. It's tempting to play Myers, but Kirk has just been so consistent.
Yeah, I'm here. Again, he's actually priced higher than Calvin Ridley on DraftKings this week. So that flip has seemingly happened here already in Jacksonville. Ann says, good morning. Sellers wants to know flex, Devonta Smith, Brandon Ayuk, Christian Watson, Treylon Burks, Cam Akers was actually
We're going to go with Ayuk here. Especially with Brock Purdy back.
Yeah, Brock Purdy back. I like that play much better as well here. Moore or Ridley in a half PPR.
Ooh, got to stick with Ridley.
Yeah.
Although DJ Moore is
better quarterback play.
Right.
This one's a little bit tougher. Addison or London in a half PPR.
Oh man. I'm gonna go Addison.
Yeah, Addison's fine. Again, I think Drake London's in a good spot. Maybe play him in DFS today and see if you can get some production there. Sellers wants to know we went about Mahomes in the snow. Apparently, there is not going to be much snow today in that game. It snowed overnight. It's going to snow this morning. Should be ready to be cleared and ready to play. Just going to be very cold. So I'm fine playing Mahomes. That's fine. Ann wants to know Javonte, Donta, or Najee. Need one in a PPR.
I still like Donta here. Javonte, just the whole split, the inefficiency of yards per carry. I like Donta here.
Yep, I'm with you for sure. Let's see here. Next question on the board: Trevor or Sam for Ann? Sam Howell, Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
I'm going Lawrence.
Brad, top of the morning is Howard. So he sees Howard in chat, I guess. Yeah, he's talking to Howard. Okay. Jets, all these people typing in. Foreman, London, or Flowers?
London, right here.
Andrew wants to know Addison or Garrett Wilson or Palmer in a half PPR.
Yeah, I'm ruling out Palmer. I'm sticking away from that. Addison, I think, but it's tough.
Yeah,
I'm using over under to break that tie.
It's more so like a Zach Wilson trust issue than it is really anything else there. Amari or Addison today?
I still like Addison. I'm so high on Addison today.
Got a stamp of approval here on all Jordan Addison. Ann wants to know 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, Ridley, Palmer, Roschon, or Singletary.
I'm gonna go Ridley and Roschon here. Palmer, he's a no-go for me.
Yep. Troy just saying it's not going to be snowy. That's what we're seeing too here, Troy. So it's going to be cold, but they can play in the cold. So Matthew says, good morning. Gary wants to know Akers or Singletary?
Singletary, I believe.
Our thoughts on Roschon returning this week here for Matthew.
Yeah, I think that he'll be worked in to the lineup. I don't think he'll come back to a full 50-50 split, but he should get plenty of work in the passing game. So especially in those half PPR, full PPR formats, he should be fine.
Yep. Ann wants to know Higgins, Pickens, or Rashee Rice, Deontay Johnson need one.
Oh, this is great. I think I'm going to lean Higgins here.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the 49ers though. Like, I understand that their defense maybe hasn't been as great lately, but I still like Rashee Rice.
Yeah,
I think I would lean Rashee Rice there, and I know Bender likes the Bengals today. He was showing me some DFS lineups. He's got Joe Burrow. He's got Burrow in the playbook again. He thinks the 49ers defense is basically off of merit right now and not necessarily off of production, just kind of the name value of them. So maybe a little sneaky play there. Troy St. Jerome Ford wants to play and plans to play. Would we play any Browns running backs today in DFS?
I'm staying away. I think that game's just going to be really low scoring overall. They did bring in Frank Clark as well, so they have added a little bit to their defensive line. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Not in DFS.
Yeah, I'm with you. There could be too much of a split for me there. Palmer, Thomas, Chark, or Boyd. We got a Twitch gang member in here. I don't know if you have any Twitch glasses for us here, Britt? No,
I don't. I'm not as
neither do
cool
I.
as
No, we
Coop.
need Coop here for that. Wide receiver 3 today: Palmer, Thomas, Chark, or Boyd.
Oh man. So Michael Thomas actually popped up on the injury report yesterday with the illness that's going around the Saints locker room. So don't know if he's going to be ready to go. If he is, then that's who I'm going for. If not, I'm going to Chark.
Yep. Better Boss wants to know for defense, Jets or Falcons today? I'm leaning Falcons.
I have the Falcons in a ton of lineups and as a streaming option in season long.
Let's see here. Matthew wants to know flex, Metcalf, Deontay, Watson, or Madison?
Madison. Actually, no, I'm going to go Deontay. I think I'm going Deontay.
I think Deontay's in a good. The targets are definitely going to be there regardless. Olave or Addison today?
Oh, this is tough. I'm going Addison still. I'm going Addison.
Going Addison again. I like the targets for Olave, but Addison, is definitely shown out to be shown out lately for sure. Dell or Watson today? I'm going to go Tank Dell.
Yep, same here.
Sit 1 in a PPR. Sanders, Dubs, or Samuel?
Ooh, Curtis Samuel, I think. I know he's been okay and he's been doing well, but the Eagles just brought in a ton of other pieces for their defense, and they've just looked really good.
Yeah, they're saying the safety there is going to start today, or play today. Yep. So Brad wants to know full PPR, Mostert or Stevenson?
Mostert if he plays, but we're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I mean they're the same game, so you'll find out. You can play one if they're not. So excuse me, Amari or Rasheed?
Rasheed here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rice as well. Bender doing the Twitch gang glasses for everybody there. There you go. He's got your Twitch gang glasses. Speaking of Twitch gang, start Pat Stafford, Pickett, or Mac Jones today.
I'm still going Stafford, even though they're playing against Dallas. I just have this icky feeling that the Dallas secondary is going to give up a ton of points to Cooper Kupp, and that Stafford's a big part of that.
Right. Rice or Pittman today?
I'm going Rice. Pittman's going to be Marshawn Lattimore covered. Don't like that matchup at all.
No, I don't like that matchup for him at all. Drew needs us to give him 3.5 PPR league. Mixon, Metcalf, Pittman, Watson, or Deontay Johnson.
All right, so we're going to go Deontay Johnson, Mixon, and then I think Metcalf, but I don't like that matchup necessarily either.
Mm-hmm.
Watson and Pittman. Pittman's great, but again, Marshawn Lattimore. Watson just hasn't done enough for me.
And he's been limited a bit, it feels like, too. So, where do we land here? Metcalf, Mixon, and Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to go. Another Twitch King question: Ford and DeMarcado, who would you start if Ford is active today? They're both same game time, I believe, right? So, which one would you play?
Yeah, I mean, if Ford gets the start, I would play him. DeMarcado, though, I think has some sneaky PPR value with all the targets that he's seeing and the volume of the carries that he's seeing. So you've got a decent option there if Ford is out.
Yep, I'm with you there for sure. Rob wants to know, roll the dice on Palmer or AJ Dillon, Miko Hardman, Tyler Algier. I'm already playing Robinson. Well, you don't want to ever roll the dice because if he doesn't play, then you eat a 0. In this case, I probably just play Tyler Algier, I guess.
Yep, I think that's where I'm going to. And with Arthur Smith and his love of the hot hand, then it seems that Algier keeps getting plenty of the snaps.
Yeah, I can't go Miko Hardman. Justin Watson's back today as well, so I'm not even sure how much Hardman gets on the field with that. And then Dillon, I mean, they did say Aaron Jones is not 100% yet, so Dillon's still going to be very much involved, but he's just looked terrible. So, yeah, probably not where I'm going to go today. Ann wants to know, need one in a PPR, Pierce, Moss, Roshan, or Thomas?
Oh, I'm going to go with Moss here, I think, with the targets. If he's expected to play, that's who I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, that's probably okay. My worry is that the Saints' run defense has been pretty solid. If you find out Michael Thomas is in, I would go Michael Thomas over Moss today. But again, that illness is something we're watching there. Roshan or Gus?
I'm rolling with Gus.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gus Edwards as well. Big day last week, got the end zone. Gotta love that spot against Arizona. If they go up big, you can just run out that clock.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith or Calvin Ridley?
I'm still going with Calvin Ridley. I still believe in him. He had a tough matchup last week. He gets a much softer matchup this week.
Sellers wants a DFS tight end. Goddard, Schultz, Pitts, or Ferguson. I believe Mr. Andrew Cooper is very high on Dallas Goddard. Jeez. Dallas Goddard here today. So
I also do like Ferguson, though. The Rams have allowed 60 yards to the tight end over the past few weeks. They're very bad against the tight end, and their secondary is actually sneakily good at shutting down wide receivers. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ferguson got a ton of looks today. It's just that consistency thing.
Could be a pretty interesting GPP option. Trey McBride is your chalk DFS play today at the tight end position. What are your thoughts on and expectations for him today?
Yeah, he's only 2,700, so why would he not be chalky?
Right.
They don't really have another tight end. We've seen him kind of come on getting the targets over the past 2 weeks, and now with Ertz out on IR, I think all these targets go to him. And Arizona has thrown 30% of their targets to the tight end position. So if he's down there absorbing all those targets, he's going to see a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see the game flow of that one. I was also kind of surprised that, there aren't a lot of people playing. We'll look at our recent rostership updates. What are your thoughts on that matchup for him against Arizona? Now, if you go look at the fantasy points allowed, Arizona grades up pretty well. But if you go look at the DVOA numbers, I think they were like 23rd or 26th against the tight end position. And oftentimes I talk about this with Coop and Bender, the stats for teams against tight ends are skewed because there are only so many teams that really truly feature a tight end as part of their passing attack. If you look at their schedule, they have faced some like notable name tight ends. George Kittle didn't really do anything in that game, but Christian McCaffrey just torched Arizona. They didn't really have a need to throw to Kittle in that one. Darren Waller, conversely, did have a good game against Arizona. So, I kind of, for my own argument, am skewing more towards the production Darren Waller got in that game, as was probably the number one pass catching option in New York, where Andrews is probably the number one pass catching option in Baltimore, and hope to find some low roster success in DFS there today.
Yeah, and I think that he gets enough points before the game script gets out of hand that he can still reward you with what's going on.
Right.
Like I said, I do like Gus Edwards, but I think that happens more in the mid second half. I think the first half belongs to Andrews.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sellers wants to know Gus, Stevenson, Pierce, Javonte, any DFS low end RB. Do you have Miles Sanders in there yet? Because if you're on DraftKings, he's cheaper than all of those guys. I think I'd rather give Sanders a chance. Otherwise, Bender has Stevenson in the playbook today. I know that Justin Reeland did some good work. Miami ranks, I think it was 30th in DVOA against running back pass plays. And Stevenson, again, has 13 targets over the last 2 weeks. So if you don't have Miles Sanders already in there, I would maybe lean Ramondre here.
Yeah, I'm still very high on Gus just because of the game script and Arizona's run defense. But if you want to get contrarian, I think probably Stevenson would be the contrarian play.
Yeah, for me, my worry with Gus is if he doesn't score today, I don't know what he gets for fantasy points.
Yeah.
So for DFS part, in seasonal, fine, I'll take the 8, but in DFS, if he goes 17 for 85 today or something like that, he doesn't really catch the football. He did have an 80-yard catch last week, but it's the one catch of his day. So if he's not scoring, I don't know if he has the DFS upside there. Waller or Schultz in a half PPR?
Oh, I'm going Waller. The Jets have been very bad against tight ends so far this season. And with Taylor starting as the quarterback, you can expect him to continue to target Waller. But I do like Schultz.
We have a thoughts on Metcalf. Do we sit him this week? Well, what are your other options here, Matthew? Obviously, tough spot against Cleveland, but Depends on what you'd be playing over him. Here you go. Good follow-up. Have Olave, but I'm leery on him. Deontay Johnson over Olave. I would play Olave over Deontay Johnson today.
Yeah, I think that's the play.
I don't think there's any reason to be leery on Olave. The target share for him is ridiculous in that offense. So I'm fine going there. But if you're doing Deontay Johnson over Metcalf, I don't know if that's like a possible pivot for him. Would you do that?
I think so. Yeah, he was dealing with
Deontay
that
looked good
rib
in
and
his
hip.
return. They threw to him a lot. So I'd be
Yeah.
fine going there. Ann wants to know PPR, Algier, Dubs, Samuel is already starting Bijan. She is.
I like Dubs here. I know that Jordan Love hasn't exactly looked great, but Minnesota's pass defense hasn't exactly looked great either.
Mm-hmm. Quincy wants to know, Palmer may not play. Do I start Tank Dell over Kareem Hunt for my flex?
I would.
Yeah, I would play Tank Dell for sure. Again, I think this is a good week for Dell here. Kirk or Olave today?
Gonna go Kirk.
I like Kirk here. Russell Wilson or Mac Jones? People getting back on the Mac Jones train after last week. What are our thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm still, even with the weather and the cold, I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson. I cannot trust Mac Jones. One good game does not a good quarterback make.
And we've seen the struggles the Bills secondary has had, obviously. I will say, they reshuffled their offensive line last week. They kind of moved some guys around to different positions instead of what it seemed like they did was basically just take their best offensive linemen. And they were like, can you play guard? Can you play tackle? Like, we'll just make it work here. Instead of having, Michael Owenu back up Trent Brown, they're just like, hey, Michael, can you just play this spot instead? Because that guy doesn't know how to block the right side of the line. And seemingly it worked, at least for 1 week. We'll see what happens here. Again, Miami's defense really hasn't been that great. And one of the things I pointed out during the DFS show I did with Coop on Friday, if you go look at Miami's offensive success this season, they've really beat up on like the bottom teams in the league in terms of record and defense and offense. But then you go look at the games where like Tua has struggled offensively. It was in New England, it was at Buffalo, and it was against Philadelphia, teams that we generally think are kind of competent, when it comes to defense. And then you go look at the DVOA numbers. The New England Patriots, in terms of DVOA, are the number one team against number one wide receivers. So if the Patriots shut down Tyreek Hill today, that takes away the biggest playmaker in that offense. Now, in week 2, Tyreek Hill had 40 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown was actually like a goal line play that he just kind of was able to get open quick on. But he did not burn New England downfield like he did pretty much every other team. So if the Patriots game plan is to take away your number one wide receiver and then make you beat them with your second, third, and running game, maybe we see a down day from that Miami offense today.
Yeah, we very well could. I think that there are a decent number of injuries, though, on this defense. I think it's going to be a little bit different than when they faced each other earlier in the season. And on Miami's side, they're supposed to get Jalen Ramsey back. So
was that confirmed? Because I saw Ramsey tweet out being like, these reports are wild. Like, wish I knew that was the case. Do we know if Ramsey's actually playing today?
I haven't heard for sure.
Okay.
But
yeah, he quote tweeted Schefter, I think it was, a Rappaport. He's like, all respects for these guys, but I kind of wish I knew that was the plan. So
I missed that. I missed that.
Yeah. So we'll see where we go here. A couple more questions rolling in. Are we trusting Darrell Henderson here this week? He's got Hubbard currently in over him. Hubbard, the backup running back, Henderson at least slated to be the starting running back going up against Dallas today. Do you go Henderson or Hubbard?
Yeah, I actually, I think I'm still going Henderson here.
Yeah.
I can't remember the numbers just right offhand, but I'm pretty sure that there was some decent movement on the books regarding his yardage and his anytime touchdown props yet again this week. So I think that Vegas is onto something that we don't know about.
Yeah, I'm with you. Twitch gang here. Pick 3, Addison, Pittman, Smith, Kirk, or Wilson?
I'm definitely going Addison. I think I'm going to go Kirk and Garrett Wilson. Devonta Smith just has dropped so many balls. I just don't know if I can trust him. And I have him on my own team. So this is not Not to say that I don't like him, but it's just hard to trust after the past couple weeks and all those drops that he's had.
Yep. We got Juan wants to know which three: Brees Hall, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Isaiah Pacheco. Wow, what a great draft you had there. You got to go Alvin Kamara. I mean, that man in a full PPR league, an absolute monster. Brees Hall against the Giants, certainly a lock in. So Taylor, Pacheco, or Stevenson here, Britt?
I'm going to go with Pacheco today with that weather.
Yeah.
And I think that, although we can trust Mahomes, again, it might be another game script situation where they just blow him out. And Howard really likes Pacheco. I think Pacheco's his favorite DFS play this week, too.
Yeah,
so.
he's up there in rostership here, and I think the weather is also going to be putting a lot of people. Again, how many people go and re-look at the weather report after Schefter and everybody tweeted out that it's going to be a blizzard today, right? There could just be a bunch of people setting their lineups thinking whiteout conditions and just plugging Pacheco in thinking they're going to have to run. The volume for Pacheco has been great. The yardage hasn't really been there for him. He hasn't been able to get these despite the fact that he runs he's spastic, when he gets the football, he hasn't really been churning out these monster running yard games here, but he is finding the end zone. So that is helping him out a little bit there. Sanders or Samuel in PPR. I'm going to go Sanders here today.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then we got Addison or Kirk.
Oh my gosh.
We've had a lot of Jordan Addison questions today.
I think because everyone thinks that they're point chasing by putting him in the lineup.
Sure.
But the thing is, he's had 8 targets on average in those 3 games since Justin Jefferson went out. He's scoring touchdowns on top of that. I mean, I really like Addison here.
Yeah, I think, he obviously had kind of the fluky touchdown where he ripped out the interception there and went for 60, but he's still the number 1 receiver on that team. So I'm with you there. I think Addison is fine going in that direction here. So some other DFS plays that I'm kind of keying in on here today when I'm building some lineups. How worried are you on the knee with Jalen Hurts today?
So apparently it's not anything to worry about. They said that he's cleared, won't even be wearing a brace, I don't think. So yeah, full go for me.
Full go on the tush push. We're all set there.
Absolutely. And the thing with Philly, Washington almost embarrassed them at home in the early part of the season. They took them all the way to overtime. Philly only ended up winning by 3. I think that this is their revenge game, and they're going to just embarrass Washington today.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I have I was looking at some of the projections. Not a lot of people are on there. The cover of today's show is AJ Brown. Again, I make the cover, so I'm a little bit biased here, but I think he is going to absolutely destroy this matchup here today. I've done whatever I can to get him in a lot of my lineups. Him and Alvin Kamara are my 2 highest roster players in DFS. I know, shocker, they're chalky, but Alvin Kamara and AJ Brown, and it's almost like you don't have them in your lineups on a week-to-week basis here. You're kind of hurting yourself when it comes to their value. Thoughts on CMC today? Do you have? Are you paying all the way up in DFS for Christian McCaffrey?
I don't think I'm paying all the way up. Like you said, you can get Alvin Kamara, and although he's chalky as well, he's also $2,000 in salary cheaper.
Yeah,
I think I would much rather go with that and get that target upside. And I don't care if they say that CMC is like a full go. He didn't exactly look like 100% last week. Aside from that one 30-yard big catch and touchdown, the rest of what he didn't look great. The box score is kind of misleading. So I'm looking to save some salary on him and fade McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm with you again, dude. $9,500 or $9,400 today. It's a big price tag. Probably nobody will be there, but tough to trust at that point. Start 1, Mayor Foreman, tight end premium league.
Oh,
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play today. So
right. Yeah, I think I still like Foreman here. Mayer's been coming on a little bit, but just not
enough consistency. It's unfortunate that Garoppolo got hurt, I think, because I would have liked to see sort of the progression development of Mayer with the starting quarterback here. So if Mayer goes out and has a good game this week, I think it's probably a full system start there, unless Foreman just takes over the starting job. But got to wait and see here. PPR need 2, Deontay, Mixon, or Sutton.
I'm going to go Deontay and Mixon here.
Yeah, that's probably.
I know it's tough. but
I mean, I don't mind going mixing because I think you get some pass down work as well.
yeah.
So I'm fine going in that direction. Goff or Burrow today? Again, it all depends. If you believe the actual numbers, San Francisco's defense maybe not as good as we consider them to be. Lions are what? Chargers? Who the Lions play this week? Now I'm
No, they
blanking.
play the Raiders.
Raiders. Okay, yeah, they're the late game. What do you think,
But
Britt?
Frank Ragnow, their center, is unlikely to play, and their left guard, Jonah Jackson, is already out. Normally, I would like Goff, especially against this, but I think I'm going to go Burrow here.
Sure. So I was wanting to know what's our other stack? KC, Baltimore, Houston, Philly, Atlanta. You have a lot of the stacks that I already have. I would say the one you don't have is New Orleans. I think you can act this. New Orleans, one of the rare cases where you can play the running back and the quarterback together and not really be sort of like a negative value here because of how much he throws to Alvin Kamara. So if you wanted to go Derek Carr, who's very cheap on DraftKings, Alvin Kamara and a Chris Olave, or Alvin Kamara and a Michael Thomas against Indy, I think you could probably get some low roster play there. Goff or Lawrence?
I'm still going to go Lawrence. I'm going to go Lawrence.
Yeah, go Lawrence in that one as well. The Matthew wants to know our thoughts on Cam Akers, Alexander Madison.
I mean, not so much. I don't think either one of them have been like hyper efficient, but they're both in a good spot today against Green Bay. So even if they do split, I think that they can get it done. I just think that Akers is he's a guy.
Yeah. Again, people and I was also sort of that initial assumption as well. They go ahead and they make that trade, and this is right around the time that Alexander Madison is fumbling the football nonstop, and he has experience in this Kevin O'Connell offense. As Cam Akers, just this is clearly just a ramp up until eventually Cam Akers overtakes Alexander Madison, and then Cam Akers didn't look all that good, so it's like, well. There really isn't been a reason for them to go away from Madison because Akers hasn't been at all the better back almost at any point during their time here. So, for me, I'm not too worried about Akers until that eventually actually ends up carrying over here. Matthew's saying he picked up the Finns defense because Ramsey's back. Do we know? Is he actually? I might as well just look
check.
Ramsey, is he playing today? What do we got here? So Rappaport still says that Ramsey's expected to debut. It'd be kind of weird for like Ramsey to do those tweets being like news to me, like blah 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 blah, and then like still ends up being true because he probably knew then, right? Like he probably knew that he was gonna play. Like why blow up his spot like that? So yeah, that's fine. Jalen Ramsey gonna play what slot corner for the Rams here or the Dolphins. So we'll see. Dan, you kind of typed in only like a couple of letters here, so I'm not really sure where we're going. Go ahead and give us the rest of your question. We'll be able to help you out there. Juan wants to know, do I use Myers, Collins, Wilson, Ayuk, Rice, Brown? Need two. I mean, Jacoby Myers might be the best wide receiver of that group right now in terms of fantasy production.
I still like Nico Collins.
Definitely like Nico Collins.
For sure. And yeah, with Garoppolo back, I think that the thing about me is that I'm just a little bit worried about Detroit's defense. I know that they had just a complete egg-laying game last week, but I think that was a little bit of an anomaly. With Brian Branch back, I just makes me a little nervous. I think I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk here.
Okay. Yeah, I have no arguments against Ayuk. Obviously, we know the Cincinnati secondary as well. Not really up to snuff. The one thing with Jacoby Myers that he's benefiting from is obviously McDaniel's offense loves that sort of slot receiver, but teams still have to focus on shutting down Devontae Adams. Because if they, for 1 second, decide to single cover him, he's going to get thrown the football and probably burn them. So they have to dedicate so many resources to just making sure Adams doesn't get open, that Jacoby Myers is just eating all week long here. Got a couple of minutes left in the stream here, but don't worry. Right after us, you go Sirius XM Fantasy. Go listen to Howard Bender and Andrew Cooper from 10 to 11. Then come right back here. I'll be on with Andrew Cooper 11 to 12 with all of your inactives, getting you guys ready for week 8. If you haven't already joined the family, now's the time. You can scan the QR code here on the screen or go to fantasyalarm.com/lock. Use promo code LOCK at checkout and get $100 off our annual subscription package. That comes in to be less than $16 a month. If you go month to month pricing with us right here, you're paying like $30, $40 a month. You can lock us in for the year for less than $16 a month. We had a monster week 7 in DFS. This gives you access to all of our sports as well. NBA, NHL, MMA, PGA, MLB when it swings back around. We had a subscriber take down a showdown World Series tournament in game 1 with our MLB DFS playbook there. So we're covering all the sports for you guys. Anything that is behind the paywall, including our premium Discord channels where myself, Britt, Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper, the whole team are in there answering your questions on the daily. You get access to that with our premium subscription package here. So scan the QR code on the screen or go to fantasyalarm.com/lock. Promo code LOCK will get you today's big deal over at Fantasy Alarm here. A couple of questions to close us out. Connor wants to know, full PPR, need 2. Downs, Rice, Ridley, London, Terry, Palmer.
Oh, love Downs. And I think I'm going to go Ridley. Oh, man.
I might go Drake London, honestly.
Yeah, that was my next choice.
Yeah, go Downs in London here, Connor. And then Matthew wants to start Roshan over Madison, but he is a Bears fan.
I think Roshan has a good game. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that.
Yeah.
If I knew the format, if it was PPR or...
Yeah, Matthew, let us know if it's PPR or not, because obviously the pass catching ability and having Bajan as a quarterback and not Fields may be more likely to dump it down some value there as well. So and before we get out, I have to let everybody know the cool thing we got going on with the BetterCast app right now. We're gamifying Sunday Night Football on the BetterCast. Predict what will happen during the Chicago Bears Los Angeles Chargers game and test your NFL knowledge. Chat with our community about big plays, top performers, and busts in real time. There's no purchase or subscription necessary. This is completely free to play and download. Watch Sunday Night Football with us. I know myself, Howard Bender, Britt, Coop, the whole team's in there during the game, watching it with you, chatting it up. Get an opportunity to win tickets to redeem for authentic NFL gear, signed and collectibles. Download the free BetterCast app in the Apple Play and Google Play stores today. Again, scan that QR code. Get the BetterCast app. Come party with us watching Sunday Night Football. Maybe go win yourself a mini helmet, an autographed jersey. A lot of cool things going on with the BetterCast, Britt.
Yeah, I love it. I came in first the other night, and it was super fun.
Last question of the day before we get out of here. We'll answer it for Daniel here because he filled it out for us. Half PPR need 2. Cooper, Pittman, Higgins, Rice, or Bourne?
I'm going to go Higgins and Rice here.
Higgins and Rice it is. All right, everybody. Good luck. Again, go listen to Howard and Coop over at SiriusXM and come right back here, 10 o'clock to 11 to 12, rather. Myself and Andrew Cooper will take you into the inactives. Good luck in week 8. We'll talk to you later.